What if everything you were taught about getting women was a lie? What if the things you've been doing, being available, expressing your feelings early, always being nice, were actually repelling them instead of attracting them? While you've been chasing love with open arms, the men women obsess over move in silence, stand their ground, and live with purpose. Today, you're about to learn why the men who walk like they don't need anyone are the ones who get everyone. This video is not about tricks, lines, or manipulation. It's about power, real power, the kind of inner strength that makes women feel magnetically pulled towards you without you lifting a finger. The boy code isn't about being rude or reckless. It's about embodying the kind of presence, mystery, and discipline that commands respect and effortlessly sparks attraction. Support this channel if you want to change your life and help other men do the same. Every comment, and subscription helps bring these tools to those who need it most. Let's dive into the 5 rules that will shift everything. Number 1, build your own frame of reality. Your own frame of reality. Women love men. Building something bigger than her. You want to become irresistible. Stop making her the center of your world. The men women desire most aren't the ones who put them on a pedestal. They're the ones building something so big, so bold, and so focused that she has to fight for a place inside it. Women don't fall in love with men who orbit around them. They fall in love with men who are already moving, already rising, already chasing a vision that has nothing to do with them. In every relationship, there are only 2 options. You live in her frame, or she lives in yours. Most men give up their frame the moment they feel attraction. They start adjusting. They start pleasing. They start making emotional decisions just to keep her around, and without realizing it, they abandon their standards, routines, values, and vision, all to make her feel comfortable. That doesn't make her love you more. It makes her lose respect. Because when a man trades his purpose for a woman's presence, he becomes replaceable. There's nothing magnetic about a man who has no direction. A man with no frame becomes a man with no identity. And a man with no identity can never lead what is a frame. It's the structure of your world, your principles, your schedule, your mission, your priorities. It's the emotional environment you live in and invite others into. If you don't define it, someone else will. And when that someone is her, the relationship flips. You become the follower. She becomes the leader, and attraction dies. Women don't want to lead you. They don't want to fix you. They don't want to figure out what you stand for. They want to feel the gravitational pull of your life. They want to feel like you are so driven by your own purpose that being part of your world is a privilege, not an entitlement. So how do you build a frame that makes you magnetic? First, clarify your mission. What are you building that matters more than texting her back? Is it your business, your health, your craft, your future? If you don't have a compelling answer, you'll always default to making her your mission. And that is the beginning of emotional dependence. Second, organize your life. A man's frame starts with order structure. Your mornings, guard, your evenings have routines that don't shift. Just because someone new is in your life, when she sees you choosing to leave her on red so you can complete your workout or finish your reading or hit your goals, that discipline becomes power, that sacrifice becomes intrigue. Third, communicate from your frame. Don't ask, what do you want to do? Say, here's what I'm doing. You're welcome to join. Lead, decide. Create the emotional tone of the relationship. Be the thermostat, not the thermometer. You don't match her temperature. You set it. Lastly, protect your energy like it's sacred, because it is. When you lower your standards to keep her close, you lose more than respect. You lose yourself, and no woman will love a man who doesn't love himself enough to protect his mission. You want her to stay interested. Make your life bigger than her emotions. You want her to crave your attention. Build something that makes you hard to access. Not because you're playing games, but because you're in the game. The one that defines your legacy, your growth, your greatness. She doesn't want to be your everything. She wants to join a man who already has everything in motion. Be that man. Build your frame so strong that she feels lucky to be invited into it. Because when your world is bigger than her drama, her moods, her silence, she'll do everything to be part of it. And if she doesn't, that's fine. Because the man with a mission doesn't slow down for anyone. Number 2, emotional boundaries equals emotional control. Emotional boundaries equals emotional control. Never reveal need. Every man eventually faces a turning point in how he shows up in relationships. It's the moment he realizes that no amount of affection, gifts, attention, or emotional honesty can replace the value of self-control. Attraction isn't built on how emotionally available you are. It's built on how emotionally disciplined you are. And this starts with emotional boundaries. Boundaries are not about pushing others away. They're about protecting the energy that shapes who you are when a man lacks boundaries. He leaks emotional energy, he tries too hard, he shares too much, too soon. He expects emotional rewards for his vulnerability. And while he may feel he's being real or honest, what she feels is pressure. The reality is, this revealing emotional need, early or excessively, doesn't make her feel closer. It makes her feel responsible. And when a woman feels responsible for your emotional well-being, she begins to pull away. Not because she's heartless, but because that's not the dynamic she's biologically drawn to. She wants a man who can hold his own emotional weight, one who feels deeply but doesn't need her to feel whole. So what are emotional boundaries really? They are internal limits, the decisions you make about what you allow yourself to think, feel and express, especially under pressure. It means you don't overshare just because you feel anxious. It means you don't explain your worth just because she's distant. It means you don't collapse into vulnerability just because you crave closeness. This doesn't mean you're cold. It means you're strong. A man with emotional control knows when to speak and when to hold silence. He knows how to feel something without expressing it. Impulsively, he knows how to carry tension without unloading it. Women test emotional boundaries constantly, not out of malice but instinct. They want to know if you can hold your ground when things get intense, if you crumble when she's cold, if you react when she withdraws, or if you can maintain composure without demanding reassurance. When you show that you can stay centered regardless of how she behaves. Her respect for you grows, and where respect grows, attraction follows. So how do you build these emotional boundaries? First, learn to delay emotional expression. That doesn't mean suppress it, means contain. When you're feeling overwhelmed, don't rush to text or call. Sit with it, journal it, move your body, wait 24 hours. Emotional boundaries start with emotional maturity. And maturity is what turns boys into men. Second, stop making women your emotional outlet. Your girlfriend or someone you're pursuing isn't your therapist. Lean into your brotherhood. Build male friendships. Share with men who understand your process. When women feel like your emotional stability depends on them, they instinctively back away. Third, remember that not every thought deserves expression. Just because you feel something doesn't mean you have to say it. Control is not about denying your emotions. It's about choosing which ones serve you and when to release them. Speak with purpose. Share with control. Let your emotional truth come from strength, not desperation. Finally, always ask, am I expressing this because it's aligned with who I am or because I want a reaction from her? If the answer is the second pause, re-enter. Your emotions are not weapons, nor are they begging tools. They're signals, and a strong man learns how to translate them into disciplined action. A man who reveals his every fear, every doubt, every craving, early on may feel authentic, but he becomes emotionally predictable, and predictability kills attraction. The most magnetic men are the ones who feel deeply but move wisely. the ones who know their emotional landscape but don't hand out a map, the ones who are available but never needy, expressive but never exposed, because in the end, what she really wants isn't a man who reveals everything. It's a man who reveals what matters when it matters, and only from a place of power, never reveal, control. That's what makes you unforgettable. Number 3, presence. Presence greater than words. Greater than words, your vibe says more than any message. If you want to know the truth about what really attracts women, it's not what you say. It's who you are when you say nothing. Most men think words win a woman's heart. They believe if they just explain themselves better, say the right thing, or send the perfect message, she'll come around. But attraction doesn't live in your text threads. It lives in your presence. It lives in your energy. It lives in how you show up when you're not performing. You could tell her everything she wants to hear, how beautiful she is, how much you care, how badly you want her. But if your energy feels weak, needy, scattered, or unsure, none of those words matter. In fact, they backfire because your words create expectations that your energy fails to meet. And when your presence doesn't match your promises, you don't just lose her interest, you lose her trust. Presence is everything. It's the energy that enters the room before you speak. It's the calm eye contact, the quiet confidence, the way you hold stillness without filling it with noise. Women feel presence. They sense when a man is deeply rooted in himself. Not just pretending to be calm, but actually being calm, not just faking confidence, but radiating certainty from the inside out. Presence doesn't need to prove. It doesn't explain, it doesn't overshare it. Holds, it breathes, it watches, and it commands. When you lead with presence, she leans in. Not because you're loud, but because you're grounded. Your vibe speaks louder than your voice ever could. So how do you build this kind of presence? Start by becoming fully embodied. That means getting out of your head and into your body. When you're anxious, you're stuck in thought. When you're present, you're rooted in sensation practice. This when you're speaking to her, slow your breathing, drop your shoulders, feel your feet on the ground. Listen more than you speak, and when you do speak, pause before responding. Let the silence stretch. That pause creates power. It shows you're not rushing, not reacting. You're choosing every word with intention. Next, let go of the need to be liked. Presence is diluted by performance when you're trying to impress her. You leave your center, you become someone else. Someone who's trying to win approval. But presence comes from alignment, from standing in who you are, and knowing that's enough. The moment you release the need for her validation, your energy becomes magnetic because now you're not asking for anything. You're simply offering your truth. Also, develop masculine stillness. Women are highly sensitive to emotional energy. If you're fidgety nervous, checking your phone, constantly adjusting, she feels you leaking energy. But when you stay still, breathe deep and move slowly, she feels safety, and that safety opens her up emotionally. Lastly, realize that presence is a reflection of how you live. It's not just a dating tactic, it's your lifestyle. The more disciplined, focused, and purposeful you are when you're alone, the more powerful you'll be in her presence. If your life is chaotic, your presence will be scattered. If your life is structured, your presence will be steady. Speak less, breathe deeper, slow down, let her feel you instead of hear you. Because in the end, she won't remember every word you said, but she'll never forget the feeling of being in your presence. That's what she talks about with her friends. That's what she thinks about when she's alone. That's what makes her crave more. Your vibe is your voice. Make it unforgettable. Number 4, become her emotional challenge. Emotional challenge. Stability is the new sexy. If you want to attract a woman who respects you, desires you, and stays intrigued by you, then you need to stop being emotionally predictable. Stability doesn't mean being robotic. It means you are the one who doesn't flinch when the emotions of the relationship shift in today's world, where most men react to every unread message, every cold response, every shift in tone. Emotional steadiness is rare, that rarity is what makes it so attractive. Let's make this simple when a woman starts to feel something for you. Her mind and body go through a deep inner process. Unlike men who are visually and physically stimulated, from the start, women develop emotional connection through energy and contrast. And the strongest contrast a man can show is consistency, especially when she becomes inconsistent. Here's how it usually happens. Things go well. You vibe. She laughs. You think it's on. But suddenly, she becomes distant. She stops texting. First, she gets cold. Now most men go into panic mode. They wonder what they did wrong. They text more, they ask if she's okay, they try to fix the vibe, and in doing so, they ruin the attraction. Not because they're bad people, but because they're emotionally unstable. They've allowed her shift to shift them. But the man who gets her thinking, gets her chasing, gets her emotionally invested, is the one who doesn't move. Just because she did, he stays grounded. He doesn't beg for her attention. He doesn't fold when she pulls away. He becomes the emotional challenge. Understand this. Women don't consciously want drama, but they are biologically wired to test for strength. They want to feel that you can handle pressure, discomfort, and uncertainty, because if you can't stay strong when she's distant, how will you lead in life in chaos? In crisis, the emotionally attractive man is the one who is safe without being soft. He's calm under pressure. She's confused. He doesn't try to control her behavior. He controls himself, and that self-control radiates masculine energy like nothing else. So how do you build this kind of stability? Start by separating her actions from your identity. If she pulls away, it's not about you. It's her process. Let her go through it. You don't react, you observe. You don't send long texts explaining your value. You embody your value in how you live. You focus on your routine. You keep your standards. You lead your life with purpose. You don't wait for her to validate your presence. You validate yourself through action. Secondly, regulate your emotions before they become reactions. When you feel insecure, when doubt creeps in, pause, breathe, get in your body, lift something heavy, sweat get out of your head. Emotional energy that isn't expressed through movement will come out in weak behaviours, over-exting, over-explaining, oversharing. Let your body burn it before your phone does. Lastly, remember that the more she has to guess what you're thinking, the more you stay on her mind. Don't over-communicate. Let your vibe do the talking. Speak with certainty. Make her feel your presence without always offering your position. Let her wonder where your head is. That curiosity becomes desire. That mystery becomes magnetism. You don't win her heart by reacting to her emotions. You win it by mastering your own, and when you can hold emotional ground while everyone else is losing theirs, you rise above the noise. You become the one she can't stop thinking about, not because you tried harder, but because you stayed stronger. This is what separates the forgettable from the unforgettable weak men. Chase peace through her presence. Strong men create peace within themselves and make her want to be part of it. Stability is the new sexy, and the man who masters emotional stability becomes the man. Women chase, not because he begged, but because he became unshakable. Number 5, self-respect is the ultimate game. Self-respect is the ultimate game. Stop chasing. Start choosing everything. Changes the moment a man stops chasing women and starts choosing himself. Because that shift isn't just about dating, it's about identity. When you move from chasing attention to standing in authority, you become the man who no longer begs for energy. You attract it. Chasing is rooted in lack. It's the mindset of, I need her to want me so I can feel valuable. That's why so many men exhaust themselves sending double texts, trying to fix the vibe. bending over backwards for affection that's given reluctantly. But what they don't see is that every time they chase, they reinforce a message not just to her but to themselves. You're above me. I need your approval. And what happens when you place someone above you? They look down, not always consciously, but psychologically. It's impossible for someone to feel attraction and admiration toward a man they sense is beneath them. Emotionally, women don't crave the man who's always available, always accommodating, always asking for a chance. They crave the man who stands firm in who he is and chooses selectively who gets access. Self-respect means you don't try to convince anyone of your value. You live your value. You move through the world with standards, not desperation. You're not chasing women to feel complete. You're choosing women who align with your already complete identity. And when one doesn't, you move on quietly, powerfully, without resentment. Because a man with self-respect doesn't chase love. He attracts it through alignment. So how do you live this first audit? Your behaviors, are you initiating every conversation, adjusting your personality to be liked, waiting by your phone, obsessing over why she didn't reply? These are signs you're operating from insecurity, not self-worth. Shift the pattern. Match her energy or exceed it in self-control. If she pulls back, mirror it, not to play games, but to maintain your frame. Every time you respect your own energy, your self-worth grows. Second, have non-negotiables. What behaviors are you unwilling to accept in a woman, no matter how attractive she is? Flakiness, disrespect, emotional immaturity. Write them down. Commit to them. When you let behavior slide, just because you're afraid to lose her, you've already lost yourself. And once you lose self-respect, no amount of attention will restore your power. Third, be busy, building something. The man with no mission will always chase women. The man with purpose doesn't have time to chase. His time is sacred. His focus is disciplined. His energy is reserved for the few who earn access. He doesn't need women to feel valuable. His value is built through his grind, his solitude, his sacrifice. And paradoxically, that's what makes him irresistible. Finally, understand the power of walking away, not in anger, not in manipulation, but in certainty, when something doesn't feel right. When your standards are violated, when she plays games or brings confusion, walk not because you want to hurt her, but because you love yourself too much to stay in anything that doesn't honour your peace. Self-respect isn't ego, it's emotional discipline. It's choosing alignment over attention. It's saying, I'd rather be alone in power than surrounded by chaos. And when you embody that, you stop needing her to choose you because you've already chosen you. That's when everything flips. That's when she starts to feel your absence. That's when you go from being an option to becoming the man she regrets losing. Stop chasing. Start choosing yourself first. Always, if you've made it this far, you already know this isn't about tricks. It's not about being toxic. It's not about changing who you are to impress anyone. It's about becoming so solid, so focused, so deeply grounded in who you are that no woman, no rejection, no silence can shake you. That's real power. The BADBOYCODE isn't about rebellion, it's about evolution. It's choosing mission over attention, self-respect over reaction, presence over performance. And when you live this way, when you move with standards, stillness and purpose, you don't chase connection, you attract it. Remember this, women don't stay with men who give them everything. They stay with men who give them a reason to rise. So become the man whose very existence is an invitation, not to games, but to growth. You don't need more lines, you need more power. You don't need more effort, you need more presence, and you don't need to beg for love. You need to stand in it, breathe in it, become it. If this video shifted your mindset, if even one of these chapters made you stop, think and rise, comment unstoppable below. So I know you're one of the few who finished strong. Subscribe for weekly drops that make you think deeper and live stronger. Share this video with one man who needs to stop chasing and start choosing. Like this video if you're ready to lead with power, not perform for attention. By supporting this channel, you're helping us bring real grounded, life-changing insight to men around the world. We're building an army of self-led, high-standard, emotionally powerful men. And we're just getting started. Stay dangerous, stay grounded, stay you.